Hello everyone! Today is time for a different type of video. I do that a lot on my channel, I say that a lot. Anyway, today I'm actually borrowing an idea that I saw on Hailey and Bookland's channel where she kind of went on Instagram, asked her subscribers to give her prompts of books, like recommendations, I guess you could say, and she would find a book to fit that recommendation. So I did just that. So this idea is not mine 1000%. I will link her video down below. But basically last week I went on Instagram and I asked, hey, give me some prompts like enemies to lover, a vacation book, books set in particular places, things like that. And you guys definitely delivered. I had so many that I couldn't do all of them in one video, so I might have to make this a series because it's a lot. And I actually hope so, because actually when I was writing all of them down, I was like, this is really fun. So I got a lot of ideas from you guys, and if you want to see another one of these, let me know down in the comments. But yeah, let's get into it, because you guys had a lot of prompts for me to fill, for me to recommend books to you, if that makes any sense. This whole video is going to be book recommendations, which is my whole channel coincidentally, but this one's like more catered to like specific recommendations, I guess you could say. First up, I have books by the sea or beach. You've come to the right place. I do summer reads every single year, and I have some favorites, but I have two that I want to recommend to you. Float Plan by Trish Dollar. A bookmark fell out. That wasn't planned. But this is one I've been talking about a lot on my channel this year. It's very intense, but it's basically about a girl that loses her fiance and she decides to take a sailing trip. Their sailing trip that they were supposed to go on together by herself. So it's told all on a boat, the whole trip, the whole book is, and it's a very beautiful, poignant book, but it is sad. So in case you want more of an intense, kind of sadder book on the sea, this will do for you. But if you want one that's like lighter and fluffier, Island Affair by Priscilla Oliveris. This one takes place all in the Florida Keys, and they go to the beach a lot. They talk about the beach a lot. So this one's just much more lighter and fluffier. It's an adult romance about fake dating. Both of them great books by the sea or beach. Next up are books with a sports element. I don't read a ton of these, but again, I have two because I can't ever control myself. I have the Intercepted series, I believe it's called, by Alexa Martin. I've only read the first book in this, but it's all like kind of football romances, if you will, and I really enjoyed the first one, Intercepted, like I said. It's about women that date football stars and things like that. It was really interesting. I had a good time with it. Another one, again, if you want an intense one, Beartown by Frederick Bachman. This one takes place like in a town where ice hockey really reigns and something really shocks the town to its core, but it does have a lot to deal with ice hockey, so in case ice hockey's your jam, but you want an intense one, this is a great one for that. Next up are Christian, like nonfiction books, which I was really surprised was a prompt, so I'm happy to deliver on that. I do try to read a good majority of them, but I have a couple that are my favorite. First one is Get Out of Your Head by Jenny Allen. This one is Stopping the Spiral of Toxic Thoughts. I have written all in it. I've highlighted so many of things. So this one's really for it inspires us to transform our emotions, our outlook, and by taking control of our thoughts and submitting our minds to Christ. It was really interesting. I really enjoyed it. I did like, I'm in a Bible study group and we read this book all together and we met weekly, talked about each chapter. Really loved this one. And one I read on my own that I really loved is It's Not Supposed to Be This Way by Lisa Turquoise. Actually, all of her books are amazing. I've only read this one. I need to start her other one, but this one is What Do You Do When God's Timing is Questionable, His lack of intervention hurtful, and His promises doubtful. So we all, as Christians, struggle in a season of life where things are not going our way, and that happens quite frequently, and I know in my life, and I do doubt God a lot, and this book really put a lot of it in perspective for me, and it was just a really great book. So both of these books are amazing. Highly recommend them. Next up is a You've Got Mail, like comforting, cozy style of a book. I love You've Got Mail. And I actually just read a book that was so reminiscent of You've Got Mail. It doesn't come out until July, so I apologize, but you can go ahead, put it on hold at the library, put it like in your cart, whatever you want to do. And that is Very Sincerely Yours by Carrie Winfrey. So this book is the third book in her series. The first book was called Waiting for Tom Hanks, which you would think is more You've Got Mail, but it's not. This one definitely is. We follow a character named Teddy who struggles with her life. She's almost 30 and she doesn't know what she wants to do. And she watches this like children's like local show called Everett's Place where this guy named Everett hosts and he has puppets. Kind of think of like a young Jim Henson or Mr. Rogers. And she's like, hey, I'm going to email him for advice. And all of a sudden they just start an email relationship and they don't know who each other are at first. And it's just a really cutesy romantic book that is very reminiscent of You've Got Mail. So if that sounds right up your alley, go ahead and check it out. Like I said, sorry, I just finished it. It doesn't come out until July, so I apologize, but I had to talk about it because it's definitely You've Got Mail vibes. Next up is Small Town. I've done a whole video on small town reads because that's how much I enjoy small town reads because I just really like it. But one that comes to mind for sure is Evie Drake Starts Over by Linda Holmes. This one takes place, and I believe in Maine, a very small town in Maine, and it's about Evie who loses her husband, who she didn't have a best relationship with, and it's all about her life kind of starting over from there. Like I said, it's a small town, everybody knows everybody, that kind of stuff, so if you enjoy that, this is a great small town read for sure. Next up, I have Interracial Romance. So for this one, I picked Party of Two by Jasmine Guillory. A lot of Jasmine Guillory books are interracial romance, which is awesome. I forgot, I like Jasmine Guillory's books, but they're not super memorable. I know that's horrible to say, but they're just not. This one, I forget exactly what it was about, but I remember enjoying it. It was cute. Another one that is great, it's at the bottom of my stack here, that kind of sucks. Ooh, this interracial romance is How to Fail at Flirting by Denise Williams. This one's still under the radar. Not a lot of people talk about it, but this one is about a girl named Naya who takes a chance and just talks to a guy at a bar and they begin a relationship. Super cute, super adorable, and it's interracial romance. Highly recommend it. I got so many prompts for enemies to lovers, hate to love. That's not the hating game. So I've done a whole video on hate to love. So if you want that, check out that video. I probably need to do an updated one, honestly, but the prompt I'm filling for this one, I got more specifically, is hate to love. That's not the hating game, because everyone, when you hear hate to love, you think of the hating game. So for this one, I'm going with The Worst Best Man by Mia Soso. So this book, we follow a character named Carolina, who gets left at the altar. Like, it's horrible. She's a wedding planner and gets left at the altar. Like, how bad can it get? And many years later, she's still being a wedding planner, trying to move on. And basically, she gets this job opportunity, and she has to work with her ex-fiance's brother, the one who kind of told the brother, like, hey, maybe you shouldn't marry her. So she's like, you made me like a jilted bride. I hate you. So it definitely is a hate to love romance. Super cute. If you love weddings, wedding planning, things like that, this is a great one. Again, I probably need to do a whole nother video on hate to love books because there's so many of them. You want a YA version of Hate to Love, What's Not to Love by Emily Wibberley and Austin Singamabroka. That's about two characters, Allison and Ethan, I think. I read a lot of ebooks, so the names just get out of my head, but they are like high school nemesis that loathe each other, and of course throughout the course of the book they learn, hey, maybe we have feelings for each other. It's a super cute young adult version of the hating game or any hate to love romance, in my opinion. Next up, we have podcast element within a book, another video that I need to do desperately because that is one of my favorite things. Like, it's just podcast elements in books. So the first one that comes to mind is an adult thriller, The Night Swim. This is about a woman that is covering a ongoing trial. She's a podcast host, and then while she's doing that, she gets letters from a girl that's in that town that's saying, my sister died years ago and the murder's never been solved, so help me out. But it's got a great podcast element into it. I will say trigger warnings for rape in this one, in case that is a very sensitive subject for you. I would skip this one, but the podcast element is amazing. A YA version of that is Sadie by Courtney Summers. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard this one. It's about Sadie who knows who killed her sister and she goes on the hunt to find him. And we also have a podcast person that does a true crime one, and he's like kind of always steps behind her, but again, it's like a full production podcast. Both are great podcast elements in books for sure. Book centered around a bookstore. Yet again, another video I need to do. For this one, I thought of Much Ado About You by Samantha Young, which I think I read at the beginning of the year or at the end of last year. I don't remember. It was cute. It wasn't super memorable, but if you just love a bookstore element, it's a great one to read. This one takes place, like, it's about a girl that kind of moves from the US to Scotland, and she takes place over this bookstore, and she falls in love, and it's super lovey-dovey and cute. It's, like I said, not super memorable, but again, if you just love a good bookstore element, it should be right up your alley. A book with a character who loves photography. Chasing Lucky by Jen Bennett. This is about a girl named Josie who's a budding photographer. She goes back home basically and falls, like, it's a second chance romance too, but she does talk a lot about photography in it, but she's an aspiring photographer, so this is a great one to check out. Fake dating. Have I done a video on that? I'm trying to go through all the romance tropes of videos, but I don't think I've done fake dating. But one of my favorites that I've read recently this year is The Dating Plan by Sarah Desai. Also a second chance romance as well. Basically 2 characters, fake date to benefit each other. Super cute, steamy as well. Cozy contemporary. So this one, I mean, you could argue that could be a small town reads, things like that. But for one, to me, that always like seems cozy, and I don't know if people would agree with me or not, is One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So this one is about a woman that gets married, loves her life, and then her husband, who is a videographer, goes missing. Like, he's on a helicopter ride and he doesn't come back. And so she kind of moves back home to Massachusetts to kind of start her life again. And then she meets somebody else that she knew when she was younger. And it's just very cozy in the fact of, like, the small town element to it. This one also takes place kind of mostly in a bookstore as well. So there you go. But basically, the husband is found and he comes back. So it's like a love triangle type of book. It's intense, but it was just very cozy to me. I don't know why. I just felt like it was just very cozy. Next up is laugh out loud, funny, and happy. For me, that is any Sophie Kinsella book. You guys know how much I love Sophie Kinsella. She is one of my favorite chick lit authors. I've Got Your Number, definitely very, very happy, very funny. They're great audiobooks. My Not So Perfect Life, these are my 2 favorites. Love them. Great to listen on audio and will definitely make you laugh out loud. And they're just happy. They're romantic, yes, but they're just more chick-litty where it's funny and lighthearted and just a good time. That is generational / dual timelines. Great prompt. For this one, I just immediately thought of The Last Letter from Your Lover by Jojo Moyes. Probably because I just saw the trailer for it and I was like, okay, I'll watch it. I don't have the book anymore, but I remember really enjoying it. It's about a woman that falls in love with a reporter that's like doing a report or like paper or I don't know, article on her husband who she doesn't really love. They maybe begin a torrid affair, and then many years later, this one journalist finds all these letters between them and tries to figure that out. So it's got 2 timelines going on, and it's very like an epic, sprawling love story, which I enjoyed. So yeah, I think the movie's gonna probably get the book sparked up again, but I remember really liking it. Next up is Brother's Best Friend. For this one, Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. It's about a girl that's always been in love with her brother's best friend. Many years later, she gets the opportunity. It's very steamy, very adult, just so you know. Next up is Friends to Lovers, more particularly Characters Over 30, which I really appreciated because I'm 30. I'm over 30 myself. I know, I'm old. But it's one that I'm recommending that doesn't come out until September. Sometimes I'll read them on NetGalley and then I'll just read it, and then when I finish it I realize it doesn't come out until a lot later and I'm like, oh man. But that is Sparks Fly by Helena Hunting. It's about 2 best friends that have known each other since college. They live together and an accident happens where he has to help her out a lot and feelings emerge, and they're over 30. At least I think they are, or they're really close to 30. Either way, they're living on their own, they're very mature, things like that. It's a very cute friends to lovers romance that I would recommend, but again, doesn't come out until September. I'm sorry. Either way, that was giving you guys particular book recommendations for prompts you give me. I had a lot of fun filming this, so if you guys want another one of these, please let me know. I'll go back on Instagram, do the same thing, give me different prompts, and I'll try to answer them because it was like a book tag, but more specifically catered to recommendations, and I had a lot of fun. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you did, and if you want another one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.